What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another Test Your Skill, where you'll be going up against none other than Canyon, a world-class LCK jungler who is currently sitting at rank 8 on the ladder. Here's the plan. I've set up a quiz for you guys to test your decision-making to see if you guys can pick what Canyon is going to do next with the information that you'll have. Ultimately, even if you guys guess wrong, I'll explain the reasonings for each of the decisions so you can learn to maybe become as good as Canyon. But before we get started, I quickly wanted to mention that we are nearly at 30k subscribers on the channel, and that's something I want to hit before the end of the year. So what I'm going to be doing is giving away a free coaching session to a random subscriber in the next 2 weeks. So make sure you've hit the sub button to be eligible to be picked. Additionally, if you are interested in working with me to achieve your rank goals like so many others, check out the Jungle Academy and use code LEO10 for $10 off your first month. Now, without further ado, guys, let's get into this quiz. Alrighty, guys, jumping into the quiz now. We see here Canyon playing the Lee Sin on the red side, and we even have special guest Faker in the mid lane playing with Canyon in this game. Canyon is versing Pyosik in this game. So yeah, what I would suggest you guys do in this quiz is, we're going to be taking a look at Canyon's perspective. Obviously, you guys are going to have the exact same information as him. What I really want you guys to do is again, slow down the video, pause the video when the question comes. So the first question is actually after he does his 3 red side camps. All right, so it's going to be a question after he does the 3 red side camps. A little quick thing here is about, Canyon is setting up to kill the ward. So, I always talk about this ward as well. We love this ward, but Canyon is right here already giving us some, educational content. Planning to kill that ward is really, really good. And he also has this ward placed as well. Okay, so those are the 2 things. Our first question is going to be 2 minutes 03, guys. Okay, so we keep watching. We have a look around at the lanes. We're doing some information gathering. Top lane is looking like a bit of a spicy matchup, okay? So at 2:03 in game, okay? We're going to wait till 2:03 because that's what we need. Okay, so as you can see, Canyon is recalling here, guys. Take a look at the map. I'm going to zoom all the way out. Option A, recall and probably come here to match the Kindred. That's option A. Option B, look to dive the Gnar straight away. Or option C, invade enemy Kindred's blue side. I'll give you guys a little bit of a moment. All right, guys, if you chose option C, you would be correct. Now, let me explain what's going on in this game. Okay, so obviously there's always the chance of, Kindred doing something like this to you. That's also why we see the ward here. But the reason why we see Canyon actually cancel his recall here and invade the blue side camps first before even diving the Gnar. The diving the Gnar is obviously a good option, but what Canyon is doing here, there's 2 reasons for it. There's 2 reasons why you would invade blue side camps over diving Gnar and also over matching Kindred here. So the first reason, if we match Kindred here, she may just take blue buff and get out. There's no guarantee here for us. The second most important option is that if you compare these 2 lanes, right? If we even just go back to this moment when he's making the decision, if you compare both lanes, the map split for Canyon here is not a bad option, right? The map split option here is actually in favor of Canyon. So he's actually down to just keep the map split here and just what I like to call letting top marinate. So why not dive top straight away? Why go for Kindred's blue side camps first? Is because what Canyon is doing right now is he's doing something called letting it marinate. Okay, we are just chilling here on the camps while we wait for top lane to get juicier, right? And then as soon as the moment he skips the camps, as soon as it's, about to be overcooked. Small little side note here, okay? Something I always tell people, which I have learned from the best players in the world, is as you can see these pings here on the bot side, right? The Alistar is pinging Kindred is alive in the chat. So this is just also something that you guys can note. This is something I call the 3 ping, right? You ping where, you ping who, and then you ping the Kindred in the chat. So I just thought that this little detail was also quite interesting, that you even see, the Kindred, the pings, the kind of pings that I want to see you guys make. Alistair's making them here. So yeah, here we go. Canyon picks up a quick little kill. Now, from 2:45 onwards, I want you guys to pay close attention to the information because your next question is going to be coming up at 2:33 in-game timer, okay? And you guys will make a decision. I'm gonna zoom all the way out. Okay, guys, gather the information. We're gonna play. And this is also sometimes what I say you guys should do. You guys should look at the game from a bird's eye view. Obviously, you can't do that in the game. That would be pretty OP. But at 2:33, we will pause, guys, and you guys will tell me what you guys think and what the options will be. I will explain. So, pausing right here. Okay, he's about to kill the Scuttle Crab. Do you, option A, gank mid? Do you, option B, recall? Or do you, option C, keep farming raptors into Krugs. All right, take a moment here. If you chose option A, gank mid, you will be correct. So why are we ganking mid here, guys? One main reason, okay? If you guys missed it before, this is why it's important that you keep paying attention to the information. So right as I said, pay attention around 245 is because Faker here is pinging that TF is used flash. Oh yeah, right here. Okay, in the chat, right here. Teleport, flash, Faker is pinging both at 243. Twisted Fate is used flash. TF has no flash. If you guys were looking at this wave is also pushing. Another reason that this gank is really, really good. You have a really, really strong gank. Obviously, Silas and Lee Sin, one of the strongest, most, volatile 2v2s in the game, I would say. And it's an immobile TF. Okay, so, Canyon quickly makes the decision. Again, I talk about this so much, guys. Playing off flashes is so important, right? It's so important. Even though the TF kind of knows that the Lee Sin is topside because the map is split, he still dies to the gank because it's just an inevitable thing. He basically has to AFK to not die to this. Okay, so yeah, really, really great gank. And just remember, guys, that the chat is an important information tool, and someone having no flash increases the chance of the kill significantly, especially when they are immobile. All right, so let's watch carefully from 450 onwards. This is going to be our next play. So we're going to just skip past a little bit. You can keep, maintaining, having a look. So from 450 onwards is when we want to be specifically looking, guys. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out again here. All right, I'm going to zoom out. We're going to have a look what's going on the entire map. And you can see here, Canyon is, he's entering his blue side. He's farming his Gromp. And your question is going to be after the Gromp. Okay, so at 510. Okay, I'm just going to pause it right about here. Option A, take the dragon. Option B, just go take your wolves. Or option C, gank bot. All right, I'm going to give you some additional information because this play even was hard for me to be able to tell. But we assume that Kindred is pathing from top to bot here. That's one thing. And also in the chat, Rail's flash was pinged. So take a moment, have a look. Tell me what you guys think. All right, if you chose option C, you will be correct. And this question even stumped me, guys, because, I'm someone who says, camps up, you do your camps unless it's a guaranteed play. So why do we think, and I have to ask myself this question, why do we think that Canyon thinks that this play right now, after going for the Gromp, why does he think going for this bot play is the correct answer? And the biggest reason why I believe that he's done this play is not only because Rail has no flash. That's one big reason. Alistar being really, really good gank setup is another reason. But I think the biggest reason here is that if you watch before, when Canyon is coming in, if you look at this wave here, the enemy could not have warded here, right? Because the wave is bouncing and they've never entered the river. And Canyon actually catches them at a warding timer, right? This enemy bot lane wants to try and push this wave, and then they want to try and walk in and get a ward. And he catches them at that exact timer where Rel goes to ward here. She wards. People want to try and get their wave in so the wave can reset. And so Canyon just catches a really, really nice timer here. Okay, so it's just a really, really strong play as well, right? Like Lee Sin, a champion like Lee Sin. Obviously, this is a placeholder, right, guys? Like you can apply some of this stuff to whatever champion that you play. But yeah, really, really great play. And now we have to keep watching, guys, because we're about to jump into our next question. Question number 4. So after entering this tri-bush at 541. Let's zoom out. Let's take a look at the options, guys. All right. Option A, take dragon. Option B, instantly recall. Or option C, dive the enemy Yunara. All right. So have a look. All right, guys. If you chose option A, take dragon, you would be correct. Now, diving Yunara, as you can see, Canyon kind of he postured, right? He postured to dive the Yunara, and diving the Yunara is a little bit of a, if she stays, dive her, if not, don't. But the one thing you guys must think about is globals, right? So here, TF is missing, and he is level 6. So if we try and dive the Yunara right now, they might just trade kills. So this is another reason why I think Canyon chooses this play, because they have a TF, they have a global, he's missing. Even though we think that, Kindred is topside, we assume that. And this is in a situation where, a lot of the time I coach, and I usually say, don't take early drags or be careful doing a play after another play. Another reason why you don't want to recall, right? Like sometimes I will tell people, oh, after a play, you should just instantly recall into this bush. The main reason for that is just because, as you can see here on the minimap or on the camp timers, these timers just aren't up yet. So we need to try and expend a bit more time here And another reason why you can go for Drake is because your bot lane is good condition, right? They were also fresh out of base here. If we go back, you'll see that they just came out of base. So this is one of the early game drag timers that you actually can do drag. And it's a good learning to see some play like this. So yeah, Canyon just goes for the dragon. Easy stuff. And so after he takes the Drake, I'm just going to quickly talk about a decision that he makes. It's not going to be a question, but it is just going to be a learning for you guys. So he's taking the dragon here, and something that I want you guys to watch here, right? We assume that the Kindred is topside, okay? So just take a look at his pings here, right? Take a look at his pings. Lee Sin is asking for vision. He's pinging his team. He's expecting, because he's taking here. He's taking, so he's expecting Kindred to go for some kind of trade. And usually I would tell, if I was coaching, Canyon right now, I'd be like, oh yeah, you need to like make sure to defend your side, right? You need to cross right now. And obviously basing is not a great option because he's just fresh off base, right? He doesn't really want to base. You don't want to base too much, guys, in the game. And so what he's doing is he's doing something called using your team as a resource. Okay, so he's basically saying, okay, if you guys can cover this, I can be a little bit more greedy, right? I can actually know if I do need to go here because I have a ward or not. And obviously, if you're in your guys' solo queue games, you would probably just cross here. You would try and get your team to do it. And some of you guys are going to say, oh, my team aren't challenger support players and my mid is not faker. However, it's still, if you can do it 5 out of 10 games, guys, it's good enough. So now he gets this information that Kindred is on this. Obviously, he's already halfway through his camp. Canyon doing a rule that I also do. If you're already halfway through a camp, guys, don't skip. It's okay, right? Just, you got Drake. He got your Raptor camp. It's all good. Okay, but the main thing to learn from this is, using your team as a resource. Now, guys, we're going to skip now for question number 5. We're going to skip to 11 minutes. Okay, so some scuffling happens. Just a little bit of context when we skip here. Canyon has basically just cleared from bot to top. Okay, he's just cleared from bot to top. He goes for a mid gank, okay, which succeeds because, once again, the TF has no flash. This is why he goes for this gank. So your next question is actually going to come at 11:05 right here. Okay, so what are the options at 11:05? Let's zoom out. So option A, the dragon is alive in soon. It's up in like 5 or 10 seconds, okay? So option A, take Drake. Option B, back to Gromp. You see how Gromp here is spawning in 7 seconds. So we can just go back to farming. Or option C, look to dive Yunara. So a couple of things you can do here, right? Once you get the kill on mid, you can think like, ooh, Rel is mid, maybe we can go and dive bot, or you can think, oh, like Dragon is free, or you can think, oh, well, maybe they could still contest Drake, so I want to make the safe play and go for Gromp. Think about it. All right, guys, if you chose option A, take Dragon, you would be correct. So the reason why you don't really want to dive the Yunara here is just because the play is too slow. So obviously looking to be a little bit proactive here is good, right? Looking to like, do something here after getting a kill, especially when it's 11 minutes, guys. Part of like playing Lee Sin, especially in these early game junglers, you do need to kind of translate your lead into an objective. And I do believe that getting Dragon Soul is a really, really easy and ensuring way, right? It's insurance. Like if you get Soul, if you use your early game power just to stack drags, it is a really, really effective way of translating your lead. And then obviously the other option we had was like going back to the Gromp. And something that Canyon does really, really well is he's just extremely time efficient. You will watch him play and he's just always doing something. So sometimes he substitutes his time, right? Sometimes his Gromp will be spawning, but he knows that his other camps aren't spawning yet. And so he does something else and then does his camps, right? And kind of just makes it more efficient. Just easy. I'm not trying to trick you guys with these questions, right? It's just like an easy kill into an objective. If the enemy camps were up, this would also be a fine option, I believe. Okay, so now our next question is going to be actually question number 6 is going to be at 13:24. So we're just gonna watch here for a little bit just to get some context of the game. Some scuffling happens. And this guy just gets spotted running in. And the Canyon is doing some more clearing. So 13:24. Some more information for you guys. So the question is going to be out of base here, right? Oh no, it's not going to be out of base. Okay, get ready. 13:24. Boom. All right. I'm going to have to zoom out for this one again, guys, because you guys are going to have to see the scope, the whole picture of the map. Okay, this is why we want to look at the map. We want to zoom out. So take a look. I'm going to even make the mini-map even bigger, this, guys. It's a little bit of a hint. At 13:24, while channeling our recall, do you continue basing and defend bot? Defend this play. Option A. Do you cancel base and look to invade Kindred and also dive the Gnar? Option B. Or do you option C, push top and hit top tower to trade what's happening bot? And take a look. All right, guys, if you chose option B, invade Kindred and look to dive Nah, you would be correct. So the reason why this point was so interesting for me to make a quiz out of is because a lot of the time when I'm coaching players, I see that we are responding a lot to plays, and obviously you're still responding in a way here. You know, you're not responding to them, you're reacting. So something like, it was like before this even happened, right? If we go back 15 seconds, TF uses ult. And everyone was like running to the top side thinking, okay, we got to react to this. But the second that the Rel and the TF show here, you can see the entire squad, the entire red side squad here, immediately is like, okay, they're making that, you know, they're using a resource here. We got to try and get something back here. And the reason why, you know, you don't want to push top is because you don't want to like overload resources into the same situation. You know, you kind of want to trap the Nah here. You don't want him to leave. If you push top here, he might just leave. So yeah, this was a really interesting question. Yeah, and just in terms of, yeah, this was a really good fundamental question. So even though they don't get any camps here, they make sure that this guy can't leave. And obviously, you know, sometimes like the Zoe won't be able to push. Like sometimes you'll have Nah, like Nah should just try and kill Zoe here. Like he should just completely go, well, I'm dead anyway. Let me just try and, you know, clear this wave and ult this wave and kill Zoe. So sometimes you will push with your top. It is a little bit of nuance here. But nonetheless, recalling to defend a dead play is very bad, right? Recalling to be late to someone who's already dead is super bad in terms of tempo. So yeah, just very nice play here. Out of the red side, you know, we're able to dive the Nah, get Kindred's flash. So just a very nice response coming out here. Okay. All right. So next question. Question number 7 is coming in at 1434. So we see here Canyon, he recalls. He's very strong, right? He's 1.5 items, and you know, we're watching this mid fight now. Okay. So just take a look. This is your context for this next question at 1434. It's a little bit of a mid fight. People are TPing in. This one is an interesting question for you guys. So take a look. So here we go at 1434. Okay, the fight has basically ended now. So as we zoom out, what I want you guys to look at is all the pieces of information. Okay, the death timers, the camps here spawning. I want you guys to look at it all. So after losing the fight, option A, do you go to our bot side camps and maintain our agency no matter what and just farm our bot side camps and try and get our bot side camps? Option B, do you go to farm our bot side camps but keep watching the fight, and if they overchase, you're still having a bit of awareness for it? Or option C, recall to heal up and sync with our spawning mid and support. Okay, think about which option you want to take. Okay guys, if you chose option B, you'd be correct. Okay, so this question is all about live game updates. So what I mean by live game updates is, I'm gonna again relate this to coaching. A lot of the times when I see, you know, especially players that don't have good live game updating, what I will typically see is like, oh, they'll like farm these camps, but they won't recognize like the enemy team like over chasing here and inting and diving under the tower. So even though the correct play here from Canyon is to go back and farm his camps here, you know, this is also a little bit of a Canyon thing. Okay, let's just watch it as I explain. He just completely smurfs on the enemy here. This is also a little bit about limit testing. Okay, so this is a bit of a trick question, so don't worry too much if you know, answer this one wrong. But yeah, this is just Canyon showing his Canyon ways. But the main thing I want you guys to learn from this is live game updates. So, you know, you have your main kind of option, which is going for the blue side camps. Then I want you guys to keep watching how the fight is progressing and if the enemy start inting. Another small little side note here is that Faker had TP. So he was also kind of like stalling this play for the Silas TP. Okay, which is honestly like, yeah, this was just like him just being better, right? This is just ultimate champ mastery, ultimate, you know, execution mechanics. And this is really how you like carry games. Like this is a good example of like, oh, he's like breaking fundamentals, especially on a champion like Lee Sin, but he's just like carrying the game from it. Okay, so yeah, this question was a little bit of a trick one, but it's good to think about these things nonetheless. Okay, so at 1515, Dragon, I'm just going to give you guys some context here. At 1515, Dragon is spawning at 1 minute 15. Okay, so this isn't a question. Again, I just want to show you guys what Canyon does in this situation. So after the fight, this is a really good time to have a greed round. And what happens here is really interesting because Canyon just does a full clear. Again, Dragon is spawning in around 1 minute right now, okay, guys? So Canyon does a perfect full clear, and this is called greeting. So, you know, sometimes I talk about uptime and downtime and about playing with a team here, but sometimes as well, you can have a greed round. Yeah, I just thought this was interesting to point out because he perfectly does a full clear into spending exactly how much gold he needed, okay? So guys, we need to go back for this next question though, because I wanted to show you guys that. But at 1601, take a look at the map. So here is our real next question. So we're gonna zoom out. Okay, again, the dragon is spawning in around 20 seconds. So 16-1 out of base, third dragon spawning in 20 seconds. Do you run straight to the bot scuttle to prepare for dragon? Option A. Option B, run to fight for the Rift Herald after seeing Kindred appear topside. Option B, we see the Kindred here. So this is called like matching when you're stronger. Or option C, do you run straight behind Zoe to counter the enemy's play on the top side? Okay, take a look, think about which option you want to go for. If you guys chose option B, you'll be correct. And this isn't another interesting question, which Canyon actually makes a mistake, okay? So the correct answer is option A, but if you chose option B, you would be the same as Canyon level, but you would also make Canyon's mistake here. So let's talk about what the mistake is. So Canyon is coming out here really strong. We're running out of base here, 2 items, very, very strong as Lee Sin. Now, what is the main reason? Again, I'll just go back 15 seconds again. What is the main reason why this is bad? So we always want to match when we're stronger. Canyon has the right idea here, but he just missed a little bit of information, which is that the TF will create a numbers advantage here. Or maybe it's Faker's fault, who knows? Because, you know, we no longer have TP. We no longer have tier fault on Sylas. So the second that Sylas goes here, there is an instant numbers advantage for the blue side team, and they use it perfectly. They instantly have a 4v5 here. The Sylas is late, and we lose the play here. So the learning here is that it's interesting because you do always want to match when you're ahead. However, you need to consider numbers. Right? You always need to consider numbers. You got to consider TPs. And honestly, in solo queue, it's kind of hard to do that, which, you know, we can see as, you know, even the best jungler in the world can do it. For me as well, right? Like, I completely understand the idea of matching the Rift Herald here because you are stronger. You never want to trade when you're stronger. But at the same time, third drag is pretty big. Okay, so this is just an interesting, even for my own knowledge and learning, this is just a really, really interesting thing. And I think that his team actually does eventually get here anyway, and they fight. Oh, and they still lose, yeah. So actually, honestly, a really, really big throw from the red side, okay? And so this was my final question, guys. The rest of the game is just more fighting. And so that's where we'll wrap up the quiz. They end up winning the game. You know, they're just honestly, just some team fighting happens around the last drag, and they end up winning. So if you guys were able to learn something from this video, consider dropping a sub, dropping a like, leaving a comment of how many questions you got correct. I know there were only 8 questions. Again, this video was, you know, educational purposes, and hopefully you guys learned something. And if you like this kind of content, leave a comment down below. And yeah, see you guys all in the next vid. Peace.